Ultimate Football Fan and AFTV have teamed up with Streaming Well to bring you a Blood Brothers exclusive looking into how social media fame can affect your mental health. We want to emphasise in this film that it's okay to talk about mental health and to reduce the stigma around it. This is 15 minutes of fury.
In the past, you've had to have talent to be famous. And you might wish to argue that high-profile social media influencers have a talent to attract attention to themselves. But the kind of utopian vision is not true for the average person.
You know, becoming famous quickly is not that different from, say, a car accident or losing a loved one. It's rapid change, it happens fast, you're not in control.
All of a sudden, bang, everybody knows who you are.
It just escalated, like, beyond all belief.
It was too much to take in at one time, you know.
Social media opens yourself up, and that has positive and negative consequences.
To go after my children, my family, how I look, how I appear, and their sole objective is to, I'm going to throw you off today.
You know, social media started as a way of trying to connect with people. It's doing the opposite, it's leaving people far more isolated.
Me personally, if I suffered from depression, I wouldn't actually tell anyone.
It is an issue in football because we all think we're so macho. We just don't talk about these things.
If it's okay to show your emotions at the football and to talk about it there, how about in your everyday life?
I wanted help, I didn't get it, and I got onto the motorway. I said, oh, I just want to walk across this road and just end my life.
This is Robbie Lyle. He started AFTV 6 years ago, an Arsenal-based football fan channel that set out to give ordinary fans a voice. AFTV has become known for its fearless, passionate, and sometimes controversial conversations. And that includes talking about the stigma of mental health and the impact that social media has on mental well-being. It's complex, it's messy, but it needs to be heard.
When we first started doing the videos and stuff like down here, nobody knew who I was. So over a period of time, you've seen the growth. For some of the other guys, it's been probably a bit more instant because they come onto a platform and sometimes you come on there and all of a sudden, bang, everybody knows who you are.
When we're talking about Hollywood stars, they have what is often referred to as cultural intermediaries. So they have people to manage their affairs, they have people to train them in how to deal with the media. In terms of social media influencers, they desire fame without perhaps knowing what that might entail.
So I started the kind of YouTube stuff, as it were, just after the 2012 Olympics. For 3 or 4 years, I just dip my toe in every now and then. The last couple of years of where I've really gone full-time, and yeah, it's been quite fun and quite interesting.
Yeah! I've been going to Arsenal since 1986-87 season. A few years back, social media starts to become a big part of life. I literally just bumped into Robbie after a game, and it was the first ever time that I'd ever seen something like this outside a stadium where you could voice your opinion.
2013 season, we played Swansea when the views went really up.
Not acceptable. It's just not acceptable. This performance was a disgrace.
All these things come up. It was good and it made me feel good. Put me a bit in the spotlight, but which I wasn't very used to. I wasn't used to all that.
It just escalated, like, beyond all belief. The subscribers started falling in and the crowds got bigger, the numbers got bigger. The worse the performances from Arsenal, the bigger the numbers.
Doing this was never about being recognised or about fame. It was just about trying to create a platform for people to have open and honest conversations about football. So it's nice in a way because it's good to know that people enjoy your work, but equally it can be a slightly intrusive at times as well.
I think one of the things that we're seeing is that social media opens yourself up to a much bigger audience than has traditionally been the case, and that has positive and negative consequences.
It was too much to take in at one time, you know. There's a lot of bad swings as well as good swings. And that took its toll in a way, because what it was doing to me, it was making me, I was getting into like a bit of into depression mode. I thought I could handle, but to be honest with you, there are days I wish I didn't wake up. Sad as that's how I am. That's how I feel.
Having people who are untrained and who don't know how to deal with fame suddenly, in the spotlight, it's a particular phenomenon of our culture.
So there's all sorts of paths to fame. With social media, it's slightly different because we've moved into an era where anybody can kind of put their hat in the ring, in the sense that anyone with a webcam and an internet connection can become a YouTuber. In that sense, it's become much easier to enter the kind of fringes, if you like, of the celebrity world.
I think we are all struggling in the modern world with a sense of identity. So if your identity is being moulded or shaped by people you don't even know, by people you haven't met, by people who you will never meet, I think that's very problematic.
Part of the problem with getting famous quickly is that it can tempt you to think that feeling good about you is dependent on the number of likes you get on the social media.
People love the exposure. That's why they become famous, or why they want to become famous in the first place. They love the fact that it opens so many doors, that it makes so many people aware of them.
I would say my persona online is controversial. The world loves drama.
Shut the fuck up, Robbie. Shut your fuck
Enjoy the day, yeah?
No.
You're coming in, no one else is cussing.
Yeah, and fuck you, man. No, telling me about nothing. No, what? You think I'm scared?
These platforms are platforms designed to provide status as a service. And in that model, you're basically rewarding people for being more outrageous, more angry, more disinformed, if you will.
I think as an influencer, we have responsibilities to the people viewing us, there's no doubt. And in my earlier years, I openly admit I responded back. I got involved with tit for tat with people, whether it be trolls or other YouTubers. And I think that all I really did was fan the fire.
No, you let me finish. And if you're going to come on here and accuse me of things, you give me my right of reply, young man. Do you understand?
Social media in general, there can be some downsides to it, and some of the downsides to it is that you've got some people who use it as a vehicle to abuse people.
Keyboards give people a kind of a shield, and they're allowed to do whatever they want and say whatever they want.
The majority of people who use it are responsible. The majority of people who use it for the good. There's a loud minority that use the platform, abuse it.
I've had comments about my dead brother, that he'd be ashamed of me. I've had comments about my children, comments that I beat them up, I abuse them.
DT's a really interesting case in this because he receives more abuse probably in a month than I've had in the last 4 or 5 years. Equally, he has helped to start or at least continue some of that. And some of the responses he gives to people can be very abusive and very aggressive.
Yeah, suck your mother. Fuck off, prick.
Sometimes I'm a little reckless in my replies, and I need to realise that there are people that are watching and are impressionable and maybe follow my lead. Like it or not, that is the fact. So, yeah, I just need to kind of watch what I'm doing sometimes and saying, so.
What are you trying to do? If you want one of my hats, you can buy them.
You don't even have to be that prominent for a whole wave of criticism to come your way. So the opportunity for criticism and for abuse has definitely multiplied.
You've got to be able to deal with it. Some people deal with it well, other people don't deal with it as well.
Because you're going to be more exposed, and it can lead to greater levels of anxiety, self-doubt, can lead to periods of depression.
If you look at someone like Claude from AFTV, when you get to know him and you get to understand more and more about him, he's had a tough life, like a lot of people. And The negativity that surround him and AFTV at times, for someone like Claude, who has very openly spoke about his mental health issues and the problems that he has suffered, I think it can be a very dangerous and a very toxic environment to be in.
You get good messages, you get bad messages. I just give my opinions. I never thought it'd come to a level where I would get the abuse that I got. People that don't know you, making accusations that are completely untrue. And that hurts because they don't know me, they don't know who I am, what I've been through. One was, hope your mum dies of cancer. When she'd already died, that hurt me a bit. Someone the other day said, I wish you have a heart attack and have a stroke, because they don't agree with my opinions on football. All I am is a fan that goes to games, but I'm afraid that what social media's done, it's brought a lot of good things, but it's also brought a lot of evil.
The bit that concerns me the most is that a lot of the individuals that goad and attack and pull on the threads, as it were, of your weaknesses to try and make you fall apart, I think they know what they're doing.
When I see the kind of trolling that takes place around football influencers, I think there is something about masculinity there. Men know how to express anger, but then they struggle if they feel sad.
I find it difficult to sit down and talk with on a couch with someone, though, you know, it's not easy. I don't find that easy.
Mental health is something that we've all got, and sometimes it can become a problem. I myself have ongoing mental health problems. I have since I was a teenager, and I think it's been really hard when you're in the middle of it, that you don't always understand that you're not so well. And stigma is really that, being afraid to talk about it has been high.
I remember me personally and AFTV getting a lot of criticism for interviewing Claude. There was people saying, oh, we take advantage of him, oh, we know he's vulnerable. I said to him, I said, you know what, Claude? I said, we're going to have to stop. I feel we need to stop interviewing you. I'm not sure it's the best thing for you, you know, to be... And he wasn't very happy about that. And then I remember, like, afterwards thinking to myself, actually, I'm not an expert on mental health. Maybe I should speak to somebody and just make sure that I've done the right thing because of his reaction to what I said to him. And then I did speak to somebody who's like an expert on mental health, and they said to me, Robbie, what you just did is the worst thing you could do for somebody who's got mental health problems. You're taking away something that they enjoy, something that's like an outlet for them, something, you're taking that away because you think it's bad for them. You haven't asked them if that's what they want. I was like, oh, I didn't really think about it that way.
I wanted help, I didn't get it, and my mind was gone. It was just... I'd go onto the motorway, I said, oh, I just want to walk across this road and just end my life. After that, I thought, I'll make an effort, go home. But to find when I got home, all my bags were outside. The lock had been changed. And my daughter didn't want to see me anymore. And it's 3 years down the line, it's still, we haven't made any contact. I miss my grandchildren. I've not. Sorry.
Claude's very open that he suffers from depression. Me personally, if I suffered from depression, I wouldn't actually tell anyone, especially being in the spotlight you are, because someone would use it against you.
When a celebrity or an influencer speaks out about their mental health, it actually encourages other people to receive help and support. And actually what I see is lots of the positivity and the support and the well wishes when people do speak out. And I think that culture is really, really changing.
Many men think that talking about how they're feeling is a sign of weakness.
Nobody really wants to discuss a mental issue. It is an issue in football because we all think we're so macho. Whether it be the players, come right down to the fans, we're all super macho. We don't have problems. We don't have issues. We just don't talk about these things.
Unfortunately, on social media, I said something on social media. I don't know why. I said I've had enough. I just don't want to know anymore. I think it was sort of a cry for help, really. The next minute, Robbie phoned me up and he said, "Where are you, Claude?" He said, "Don't do anything. Let's have a chat." And we had a good chat, and I explained where I am. I explained all my problems.
Sometimes just talking about it is what stops that from escalating into something worse. So we really got to learn to talk, and football is a thing that really brings people together, and particularly men.
We know 75% of fans that go through the turnstiles are male, and we also know that men are often underrepresented in mental health services. And obviously that's a real worry. Everyone has mental health. So it's an area that we want to do more work in terms of having those conversations for everybody, but particularly with men.
As far as I'm concerned, social media is a tool for the good. You know, it's given a lot of people a chance to have their voice.
In a way, social media's helped me because social media has given me new friends. Yeah? And those new friends have kept me going.
If it's okay to show your emotions at the football and to talk about it there, how about in your everyday life? Football has the highs, the lows, the emotions when we're winning, when we're losing, and I think it's a real opportunity to harness change.
You know, this can be a force for the good if we do it in the right way and get rid of that stigma that says, you know, you're weak if you've got a mental health issue.
If you or someone you know is suffering with mental health problems, please contact the following trusted resources who will be able to help. Don't feel ashamed, you are not alone.